This is FCTV, fan-controlled television. Programs created and produced for the fans, by the fans of fan-controlled sports and entertainment. As always, power to the fans. And now, it's time for the show.
You better believe it's time for the show. A half hour early,
you're in for it now.
A half hour early or a half hour late, depending on how you're parsing this out. We're supposed to go up at 11. We normally go up at 12. But I have a hard out at 11. What time? 12:50. Batting 1,000 today. Alex, hi. I'm Kenny Stevenson. Hi.
Hi, I'm Alex Enriquez, and I'm just trying to hold the ship together while my partner here absolutely flails. Kenny, how are you doing?
Some days you're not at full capacity, and that's one of those days for me. But I'm not going to shortchange you, the fans of fan-controlled fandom, the show that we are on right now. I'm going to bring my A game and all of the games to the game. All right? Yeah.
Kenny and I have been performing together for 20 years now. And if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that this guy is a prime time performer. I saw him perform at Death's Door. This is going to sound like an exaggeration, but he literally had a temperature of 130 and he made it happen. It was the wildest long form set you ever saw. He threw up on a lady, but he did it. We were there.
Yeah, like it may not, what you get at the end of the day might not be anything worthwhile, but it gets completed. So
he will drag you both through it.
Like it or not. Like it or not, it's happening.
Yeah.
What is happening? What is this? This is fan control fandom, y'all, baby.
What in the hell are we doing?
I know Wolf Packmaster, who's watching, just says, "Wow, good grief." You're welcome. Thanks for being here. We're squarely in the cape space. This is everything in your content that wears capes, superheroes, dragon fighters, space flying through people. This is what we're talking about. And this week we're still kind of in a we're in basically a pre-Madam Web world at this point. And so we don't have any, we're kind of in between contents right now. So, I came up with this idea this week. How come no one ever says anything about bad grief? That's a great question, Freddie Airmail. We're kind of in, so what we're doing, the big game, AKA the game that we cannot name, otherwise we'll be sued by the NFL. The big game is this weekend, and also Valentine's Day is in less than a week. And, all anybody is going to be talking about during the game is, of course, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So we decided that these are two people who have found love from two separate worlds, football and music. So today we are going to be we're going to be matchmaking within the fandom space. Alex and I both have matches that we are going to make from different pieces of fandom, and then you in the app will be able to vote whether you think that it was a good match or not. So make sure you downloaded the Control app. That's going to be happening live. And Alex, how are you? How are you heading into this weekend of double time games and love?
Oh, as we approach Valentine's Day and March Madness, I can't say that. That's it's
skewed by the NCAA now.
It's the big time thing. I can't wait to see. The only reason I hope the Chiefs win, and this is for real. The picture that people grab of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce kissing on the 50-yard line will replace the victory over Japan Day in Times Square photo as like the iconic kiss of the next 1,000 years. It'll be, those two old people will catch fire wherever they are. May they rest. But that meme, that cultural moment will be put to rest while 14-foot of white person locks lips in Las Vegas.
Amazing. That the first thing she's going to say to him is they're going to kiss, and then she's going to push him away, and she's going to say, "Why the hell were you not at the Grammys?" I don't. There's no reason. Las Vegas is only like, she's got a private jet. No one logs more air miles on her private jet than Taylor Swift. Get that private jet over and come over and see me win a freaking Grammy. Come on, yo. All right.
Yeah, she's not going to hold this over him at all. It's not going to be a passive aggressive sort of.
Not at all.
So would these be like the Grammys for what you do? I don't know, because I was here. I was here for them.
Oh, so this is your third Super Bowl. Interesting, because I just won my 4th album of the year, and that's the first time that anyone's ever done that. Interesting.
So is it the first time anybody's won 3 Super Bowls? It's not. Other people have won way more Super. Huh.
Interesting.
And yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Get him, Tay.
This is what's happening. But first,
read him for filth, Ms. Swift.
Drag him. Before we get through to our matches, our matchmaking, we're going to be playing Cupid. We have to do the quick pieces of nerd news. It's called Quick Hits, and it has a stinger that is ready to just rock the house like Usher is going to be doing at halftime of the Super Bowl. I mean, the big game. Quick Hits. I don't know how I feel about Usher, but it's fine, whatever.
Raymond Usher Jr.
Yeah, Raymond Usher Jr. Idea for the next FCS. Josh writes up Tinder bios for FCF fans. Oh, jeez. FCFE figures and Jeff D's Layton. Guess who they are? Hey, put it out there. I love it. All right. There's kind of a lot going on this week. Lots of casting, lots of things happening. Disney is going to be making basically Ready Player One. So much is going on. This is something that I put this on there because this actually happened last week and it fell through the cracks. We did not, but she is just so hot right now. Ayo Edebri, she's off her Golden Globe win for The Bear. She's off her Emmy winner from The Bear. I would just assume is going to win a SAG award for The Bear. Was just hosting Saturday Night Live and just seemed like she was a member of the cast. She was cast in the Thunderbolts. Did you know this?
I had no idea until I saw she'd been replaced, which was like, oh. But also, if I can say again, I'm encouraged. Sorry to jump this, but now they're like, why are we gonna waste this superstar in a kind of is she gonna push the glasses up kind of tech? I'm assuming she from when they cast her, she's probably more background than they'd like to make her now their profile's higher.
Yeah, now she's gonna be Sue Storm.
Dude, board it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Pedro, Io, the Richardses, baby.
Pedro, Io, and then what's his face?
Bingo.
Bingo Shadrack from The Bear as well. What's his name? Oh, Ebon Moss. Ebon, Ayo, Pedro.
Ebon ding dong bing bong. He's got it all going on. He's the thing. But no, wait, hold on a minute.
Ayo, Ebo, Pedro, we go walking by. It's Homo.
I think I don't want Ayo in a Guga role though. I want her to be her, not ping pong balls,
Yeah, I do want her rather than ping pong balls as well. But however, the actor that they've recast her with is also a wonderful actor. It's an undisclosed role. They don't, unlike the recasting of Steven Yeun, which we know who the role was. It's an undisclosed role, and they've recast her with Geraldine Viswanathan. I'm sorry, I totally killed that name, but she's great. She's been in a bunch of stuff. She was in Blockers. She was in. She's in that show that's on TBS that Daniel Radcliffe does. It's like an anthology show where it changes.
Miracle Workers.
Yeah, she's phenomenal on that. She's in a bunch of stuff. So I'm totally okay with this. This is a really fun casting, and recasting it all works. I just was like, how did something like this fall through our cracks? We are so just dialed in to everything. How did we lose that Io Edebri was cast in the Thunderbolts? Wow.
Sometimes, and this is a kind of a saying that I'm coming up with right now for the first time, sometimes the tighter you close your grip, the more things slip through your fingers. And so I think that might be something that we might have befallen. So, our apologies, frankly, officially to you, the fan-controlled fandom viewers, the watcher of the big broadcast. We sometimes get it wrong. And this is one of those times.
Sometimes we do get it wrong, and it's very rare. Look, let's be real. Very rare very rarely, but you know what? The sun shines on a dog's ass twice a day. But I'm so sorry for that one. Clock, a broken clock is right twice a day. That's the better part. Anyway. Yeah, you're welcome.
What after in the post-mortem, you're gonna have to tell me what the hell that meant.
I don't know either.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Here I do have handy here now that like I don't want us to get behind because the Thunderbolts is supposed to start shooting soon. Now, Disney Bob Iger had like a call this week or 2 days ago where he basically announced the Disney slate, and absent from that slate, he basically said, here's what's coming out in 2024. Which we got confirmation that the only MCU projects we're getting is Deadpool 3 and Agatha Harkness, which they're saying actually the title of that might change. It's currently Agatha Harkness and the Darkhold or something, but it's going to change. And then 2025 has Captain America and I believe Fantastic Four, which we'll talk about in a second. And then 2026 is Fantastic. But Thunderbolts is not on there. It'll come out at some point. But I have something here that is everything we know about the Thunderbolts. So it says, who are the Thunderbolts? We know that the MCU members who are supposed to be in it. It is supposed to be Yelena Belova. It's supposed to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a.k.a. One of the real, he's the day one boat stand king.
Literally stands in his name.
Yeah, exactly. Stands in his name, Sebastian Stan, day one boat stand king. And, John, why I always forget his, I want to say John Waters, but it's not John Waters. Who's our resident Capitol Stormer from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
John Walker.
Agent.
The U.S. agent.
Yeah, we've got Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp. We've got Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. We also have Taskmaster. That's supposedly, and then we have what's his face?
Red Guardian.
Thank you, Red Guardian, which is supposed to be. Thank you. Gosh,
David Harbour.
I should say I am not batting 1,000 right. I will let into that. We also know that the Sentry is going to be in, they just recast that. Harrison Ford, from all intents and purposes, will be in this movie because he plays Thunderbolt Ross. That's the name of his character, and he in the comics lore has been the person who has united all these people. Sentry is supposedly going to be the bad guy, potentially maybe good guy. Aowa Debris is no longer cast in it. Geraldine Viswanthian is now cast in it. Lewis Pullman is now playing the Sentry, and that is what we know. So that's all the information we have. It was supposed to come out in 2025 in July. There's been some shuffling. I would probably venture to guess this is coming out in 2026. That's my guess. But that's everything we know there. So that's we've set the tone there. Everything is set. That's it.
Aside from the fan space in that same set of announcements, they also dropped that Moana 2 was coming out November of this year, which is a complete shock. And
I have something to say about. Go ahead.
Well, especially given the fact that it takes a significant amount of time to produce an animated movie. So like they've had this in reserve. All that to say, we could be getting surprise announcements of releases down the road, just out of nowhere.
As somebody who saw Moana in the theater and has a child that is a girl and loved Moana for many, many years, that was originally supposed to be a television show. And so they had already started working on that as a TV show. And then they just decided to make a movie. The thing that shocked me about that announcement was they just announced today that they are close to having Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson locked in to reprise his role. And I'm like, oh, wait, so you did like a bunch of work on this without Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But we're going to get him back, baby, because what can I say except you're welcome, Dwayne.
Thank you for saying that. I think it's about time Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson kind of got back to what works. The last time everybody like looked around and went like this, yeah, that was cool of him, was basically Moana. Everything since has been, Dwayne. And now, by the way, we can call him "The Rock" Johnson now again because he owns it.
He owns The Rock, so Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and a lot of stuff and a lot of wonderful puns here in the chat. Just should it be Agatha Harkness and the Darkness? Yes, absolutely. Josh McCouga biopic, Fantastic Four. Josh loves golf.
I believe in a thing called love. Just listen to the rhythm of the world.
Scorpion King, never forget. Incredible. Alex, are you a fan of The Highlander at all?
I'm aware of it.
Yeah, I'm aware of it as well. It's a movie that I saw as a kid. I cannot believe they made a sequel to this film, like a sequel that they were able to get Sean Connery to show up and like film and like be in, which was just staggering. But I know it's like Scottish and, you know, there can be only one and yada, yada, yada. They're remaking this, of course, because they just are. Henry Cavill is announced to be in kind of the Christopher Lambert role, which I got to say that Henry Cavill, you know, he's not Superman, but he's a lot of great things. And playing alongside him, there is supposedly, the rumor is it's going to be Michael Fassbender playing the bad guy in the new Highlander movie. And I'm telling you right now, a movie led by Cavill versus Fassbender, ka-ching, baby. Let's go.
I'm there already. I'm really, you know, cool, whatever. Who cares, man? It'll be fun. They'll do a good job. It won't be cheesy like the first one's cheesy. At one point, Lambert, who's supposed to be playing this like big time Scottish Highlander, in his, what is he, half Belgian?
French.
In his
He's
half
like
Belgian, yeah.
French.
He calls Sean Connery, who, by the way, is an ancient Egyptian from Spain with a Scottish accent. He calls Sean Connery's character a stupid haggis, and the way that he says it makes it very clear that it's maybe the second time he's ever said haggis, but that neither of those words are in his native language. It's really cheesy.
Incredible stuff. The fact that Lambert is playing a Scots across from what is arguably a man who is the embodiment of the whole country of Scotland, who is not playing a Scottish person. Which, by the way, we can't do this anymore because we never should have done it in the first place. But just go through some of the like ethnicities and countries of characters that Sean Connery has played throughout the years. It's pretty wild stuff, man. That guy has played people from all over the world, which you just can't do anymore, nor should you. Yeah, I don't. Let's go. Michael Fassbender is. I love him. He's such a good actor, and I just rewatched Inglourious Bastards recently, and I was like, gosh, this guy just like crackles on the screen. Can we get him doing some more fun stuff, please?
That dude he races cars like a maniac. He's raced in the 24 Hour of Le Mans several times. He's like the real deal. And George Clooney one time at the Golden Globes made a joke about his manhood being significant.
Isn't there proof of that? Isn't that movie he did where he played where he was nominated, where he played a sex addict? Can you see it? I feel like that's what George Clooney was talking about. He made some allusion to Michael Fassbender basically being able to putt with it. I think it was very cool. And sorry if BC Lions is on the line. I know I said last week I would keep it clean, but I also then said the F word for the first time on Twitch. I know.
So, you know.
Hey, you win some, you lose some. I'll tell you, somebody who is just winning at just a real clip is Pedro Pascal. We were talking about him earlier. And thanks to our union, SAG-AFTRA, because even though it's kind of like known that he is playing Reed Richards, it hasn't been announced yet, even though it's just kind of like it's a thing. SAG-AFTRA they have a career retrospective that they've organized and they presented. I think it's going to be for either the SAG Awards or it's just on their website. I don't know where that came through, but it was like they redacted it immediately. But it's a career retrospective, and it said Pascal recently wrapped production on Ridley Scott's highly anticipated Gladiator 2. I don't know how highly anticipated that is, but anyway. And it says, and will soon begin production on Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four. And it was like, oh, whoops, that's not something that's actually supposed to be announced yet. And that was taken off the website immediately.
Well, I mean, they could have just been kind of reiterating that semi-official announcement that everybody bit on that he'd been cast. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's all but it's a foregone conclusion, right? Like,
yeah, I think the whole cast is like kind of known. It's Pedro Pascal, it's Vanessa Kirby as Susan Storm, it's Joseph Quinn, who I believe I know who that is from Stranger Things, playing Johnny Storm, Human Fire. And then Ebon Moss-Baccarat playing Ben Grimm. Also, the rumors are that Javier Bardem could be playing Galactus, which is just like, holy crap. And then Anna Taylor-Joy playing a gender swap version of the Silver Surfer.
Oh, very nice. I like that a lot. That's very cool.
Isn't that wild? I mean, I feel like this is just all like known stuff. And this movie is like going to go into production like very early. Who is this guy, Joseph Quinn? I like am looking at a picture of him and it says he's from Stranger Things. And I'm like, who is this person?
Doesn't he play the guy that sings a song about the girl?
What?
I don't know. I don't watch that show. It's for nerds.
I watch Stranger Things and I don't know who this person is. And I see him like, here he is alongside people. Oh, is he the guy who, oh, I know who he is. He's the guy who died this year. Yeah, he's great. Sorry, spoiler alert. He died in this season. Yeah, he is really good. I'm here for that. That's great casting. Yeah,
I think so. He's British, right?
I mean, yeah.
This is secretly.
Thing. Yeah, here's the thing. Like for them to announce a film with 6 actors and half of those are British, that's a coup, because usually it's like 95% of them are British.
Hey, we're getting our jobs back.
Yeah, that's right. 50% of our superheroes are American, although Pedro Pascal's Chilean, but it's fine.
Chilean American, he doesn't. Here's the thing: Chilean American,
yeah,
Latin American. At least he's on the right side of the pond, for God's sake.
Yeah, but we're still gonna have Vanessa Kirby doing her American accent, and we're gonna have Joseph Quinn doing his American accent, and we're going to have Anna Taylor-Joy doing. I mean, she could be British as a gender swapped Silver Surfer. I feel like she can still be British.
Oh, because anybody from space is automatically British. So British. But we're going to have a Sue Storm who's like, hello, I'm Sue Storm. The New York Metropolitans are my favorite,
Hey, did you catch the New York Knicks game last night? It was fantastic.
Who doesn't love those Knickerbockers and hot dogs?
Sidebar, and this is a Sony film, so I got to watch what I say here, but star of the Outlander, Sam Hugan, whatever, the main guy from Outlander, he was in a rom-com, and the word com is doing a lot of work in that title for Sony last year, called Love Again, that came out in May, and it was him and Priyanka Chopra, and then the big thing of the movie is that Celine Dion is in it. But it's a movie that, how all rom-coms are supposed to take place in New York, but they very rarely actually shoot in New York.
Oh boy.
So this was shot in London to double for New York. And so most of the cast is British, doing American accents. And then Sam Heughan, who is Scottish, is doing a British accent. And it's just a lot going on. There's a lot of really bad accents happening in that film. But then he is in another one of our movies called Bloodshot, which is the Vin Diesel based on the comic Valiant.
The Valiant comic, yeah.
Yeah. And he's American in that. And God almighty, his American accent is straight garbage. He's definitely one of those guys who's like, I love to go out and watch the Boston Celtics play the basketball. Like, it's just like chewing gum. Amazing.
I don't know why they can't this was my big problem in Game of Thrones. Love the whole show. I don't care, whatever. But why don't we just let people talk in their normal accent so that every time they open their mouth, it doesn't make me go like, like Tyrion, for being such a great actor. Peter Dinklage is a terrific actor. He has the worst British accent. It's so
like
mumble mouth.
It's borderline Costner.
Just let him talk. It's normal.
Yeah, it's borderline Costner for Prince of Thieves. If we're not in proper England, we're just in like Guga land, whatever, Westeros. Talk in whatever accent that you want to talk in, and it's fine. Pedro Pascal didn't speak in a British accent when he was on that show. Gosh, that guy, he's. Speaking of Pedro Pascal, it was also announced this week. See how I just segued beautiful back to the quick hits? It was also announced this week that as in the release of films that Bob Iger was talking about in 2026 is when we are going to get the first Star Wars movie in cinemas since, when was it, 2019? So 7 full years since we've had a Star Wars movie in the theater. And it's going to be The Mandalorian and Grogu. I think that's what they're just going to call this movie. So, and this is like officially on the book. So I don't know. There's been a lot of like starting and stopping with Star Wars movies. especially because they announced 3 whole other movies that they said were going to be happening first, and then here comes a whole other one that they just are like, psych, it's this one. But yeah, Pedro Pascal is going to be quite busy for the next like 2 years.
It just strikes me that it'll be on a marquee somewhere, just a bunch of nonsense words. You'll be walking down the street and look up and it'll say The Mandalorian and Grogu. And if you don't know anything about Star Wars or pop culture, you'd be like, what in the hell is that? Am I having a stroke? The Mandalorian, the Bing Bong and the Boobo. Like, it's great. It's not Dune. It's not mysterious. It's just nonsense. And I love it. I love it.
Bleep blop and bleep bloop glorp. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And yes, I think there's a thing that we have to remember as much. You know, I've been listening to, I like to listen to audiobooks, and I listen to a lot of Star Wars like canon books, but because of how it got in my queue for The Hold and how long I had to wait for it, I'm now listening to Heir to the Empire, the Timothy Zahn book that was the first Star Wars Legends, but this is almost a 40-year-old book. So this book was written when there was no lore. There was just the 3 movies. And this is before even the prequels. So he's talking about like, there's no talk about Sith. They talk about like dark Jedi. Like there's so much stuff where we have started and now where we are with the amount of like lore we have in Star Wars, that we have to just be thankful that we get this. Like we always say, that we're getting all this stuff, because there was a time when we got like a book written by Timothy Zahn, and it was the first thing we had gotten for like 10 plus years, Star Wars. And now we're getting a movie called The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Right. But yeah, like it's an interesting to go back. It's an interesting time in the like that canon's history, when there was a book that came out between, I think, Empire and Jedi called Splinter the Mind's Eye, that was not an adaptation of anything like a novelization of the movies, but this guy Alan Dean Foster wrote a Luke and Leia adventure where they're after this crystal and Luke cuts off Darth Vader's arm and leaves him in a pit. It's great.
Nice.
But like that was written in like 1979, and there were some Han Solo books or whatever, but the first major thing, and I think the first thing that kind of pushed Star Wars back into a place where prequels and the rest of this stuff happens, it's the Timothy Zahn trilogy. Those were like, huge #1 selling books. They made an enormous impact, and they're great. They're so fun. And
they're like, really good.
Testament to that is like so much stuff is being lifted from those books and placed into the new canon. And like, Timothy Zahn himself is working in the new canon, developing new stuff.
He created Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn is his creation. The one thing I will say that is, there's 2 things that are terrible about the audiobook. First of all, it's the same guy who does a lot of the Star Wars books, who is 100% a white guy, and he's doing Lando Calrissian, and it is incredibly uncomfortable. And then secondly, they have this great thing in the book where Leia has to go with Chewie because they have to hide her, and Chewie takes her to Kashyyyk. And apparently, if a Wookiee has a lisp or doesn't speak well, when they're talking, it sounds like English. And so Leia they have this guy kind of translating for her because his Wookiee is so bad, I guess.
It's terrible.
And listening to this guy do the audio of it, and it's like, oh, I want you to follow. And it just sounds like he's like about to vomit, and it's really hard to listen to. So that's the 2 detriments of that.
I've definitely heard this guy's work before, and I'm like, I don't remember Lando calling people brother that much. It's weird.
Yeah, it's extremely uncomfortable. They've course corrected in some of the newer books, like there's the new Shadow of the Sith. The guy I believe is actually black doing the voice of Lando, and it's like great because this guy is. I'm not even going to do it. It's not cool.
Just think of Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, and that's kind of what he's doing. You're disconnected, Kenny. Oh my God, you're disconnected. Are you back? Oh,
I'm back. Real quick before we go, two quick pieces here. So the Super Bowl is this weekend, And obviously the commercials, most of the commercials are already available online. I don't understand why they do that, but you can see most of them on YouTube. But the things that you don't see are the trailers, and there's already a bunch of rumors of what they're going to be. But it seems like we are going to be getting our first look of Deadpool 3. There are a ton of sites that claim they have seen it. That's not English. Seen it, and this is what's in it. This is what's not in it. Blah blah blah. But this is going to be, I don't feel like we're going to get a ton from it, but because it's being shown during the Super Bowl, which pardon me, the big game, so we're not going to get proper R-rated Deadpool, and it'll probably only be 30 seconds, but if you want to see the full trailer, go online, that kind of thing. But I don't know. I'm pretty hyped. I'm kind of dying to see what they're doing with this movie.
I'm in the same boat as you, and I would conjecture also that 30 seconds of spot in the big game is just Ryan Reynolds in costume talking to camera, completely devoid of film footage, then directing you to YouTube to watch the trailer. And
that's it'll probably be I bet you guys are all here to watch. There's a kind of a movie you probably want to kind of see a trailer for. I don't know if we have any footage. I can probably show you one thing, and it'll probably be a flash of something. And they're you see more, go here. Yeah, that's it. And that will have cost $7 million of airtime to get that on air during the big game.
In the larger scheme, if you're Disney and you also own ABC, you've then taken eyeballs and time away from CBS,
it's on CBS
for them to go and check, and now you've diverted them for whatever amount of time back to one of your streams. I don't know. When you have. This is why you diversify your media holdings. This is what I'm always telling you this, Kenny. You have to own a lot of different things to be able to shift people around.
Did you see my eye rolls when you said it again? I was like, oh, God, here we go again.
But I guess I'll have to just stop being right all the time, Kenny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a tough look. One more piece here before we go. Josh Brolin, who's already out because next month, we're going to be heading back to Arrakis, which you and I are very, very excited for. But he started the push because he is, of course, in Dune. I had his character name at the top of my head, and then it immediately went away. What's his character name?
It's not Duncan Idaho. It's
Gurney Halleck. Sorry,
Gurney Halleck. Yeah.
Which, by the way, if he does not sing in this damn movie, I'm going to be pissed, because Gurney Halleck in the books is known as being just almost like a bard level singer. As the helicopters fly by to take me away, he's a singer. That's what his deal is. He's an elite hand-to-hand combat and status and infantry military mind, but he also has a song ready to go. But he has yet to sing in these movies, so do it, Dennis Villanueva. Anyway,
come on, Danny Quesadillas, you coward.
He was being interviewed this week, and of course, everybody, just because people are dorks, and comicbook.com asked him that Josh Brolin teased that he's heard that Thanos could be returning to the MCU. He said, you know what? I hear kind of through the grapevine that they're going to bring him back. And there's the What If series, and that's a different kind of Thanos and all that. But I don't know in the villain world whether they're going to bring him back. But I don't know. He was almost killed off Marvel villain. You learn something new every day. It was announced this week that I believe Thanos is going to be one of the characters in Marvel Zombies. But look, if he shows up, I will not be surprised if during Secret Wars, when Chris Evans back as Captain America says Avengers Assemble again, and we got this giant splash page, and out of a tunnel that Wong has created, frickin' Thanos walks out. I'm not gonna be shocked. No,
not at all. And it'll be so cool. It'll be it'll be the good guy Thanos from the What If T'Challa went to space, and be like, oh, don't worry, I'm a good guy now. Let's go kick some butt or whatever. Yeah,
and then at the end he turns and just is like, I am inevitable, and it's like bum 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 bum. I don't know, whatever.
And Kenny and I rise from our seats in the theater, our fists in the air, triumphant.
As Sam Wilson's boat comes over. All right, that's the quick hit.
Day one boat stand kings, baby. Day one boat stand kings.
For life. We are on the Fan Controlled Sports Entertainment Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, X stream at the moment. We've been talking about entertainment. We always give one piece of sports news every week. Alex, you're wearing your McLaren hat. Give me the Formula One update, baby.
Well, back to the paddock. This week has been the week chosen by a lot of the teams to reveal their 2024 liveries, and
liveries, aka clothes, right?
the clothing for the car, which is the paint, or in this journalist's opinion, lack thereof. For you see,
oh boy.
One of the things that I love about Formula One racing is the fact that I get to call it cool car go fast. These are like spaceships on the ground, and they always have these splashy color schemes and whatnot. Well, last season, the Williams team discovered they could save a lot of weight by just letting bare carbon fiber show without paint. So they had like the most boringest looking car. And now so does every other team, including my beloved McLaren, just the most boringest looking cars, except... and this is an official big broadcast retraction, the Visa Cash App RB F1 Snapchat team of Gahul. They have a full-on splashy blue and white with red highlights. There's one piece of bare carbon fiber and it's on the nose. It's almost like Red Bull's going, we don't care. Come at us through our little sister team. So
talk about Bruno, baby. Let's go.
It's shaping up to be a really boring looking season, but only time can tell. Back to you, Kenny.
Fantastic. Well, when the Super Bowl ends, that's when my favorite time in sports kicks in, and that's alternative football season, baby. And this week, the big thing we got is the UFL, the USFL and the XFL have merged to become the UFL. And the schedule was just announced this week. We now know that every team is going to be playing in their home market. That poll's already up for the first one. Can just not that one if possible. Anyway, if it is, it's fine. The kicking off Saturday, March 30th, we have the Birmingham Stallions versus the Arlington Renegades. That's the champion of the USFL and the champion of the XFL kickoffing off the whole league on Fox. And then we have Battlehawks of St. Louis playing against the Michigan Panthers, and that's in Detroit. So every team is going to be playing at home. There's going to be a hub in Arlington. Thanks, Jess. And that's my sports news. Alex, who is our corporate sponsor for the week? And by the way, BC Lions is in the house. Wait, BC Lions, love it.
Good. Okay, so our corporate underwriter for the week is an organization called the Citizens of Pico Sycamore, COPS, I guess. They're throwing a major block party down to the corner of Pico and Sycamore. If you like drugs or you haven't paid child support or have a mess of delinquent parking tickets, we're throwing a big party. Please ignore all the big gray vans. We've got adult carnival rides and attractions. By the way, there won't be any police there. We hate them. So just come down without reservation or suspicion to the carnival. When you get close, ask anyone with a crew cut and mustache for directions. So that's Citizens of Pico Sycamore. Again, they're having a major block party. If you like drugs or haven't paid child support, you should come on down.
Oh man, just take those. The Citizens of Pico Sycamore. Got it. Oh,
yeah, there's not gonna be any police there, just so you know. They told them.
Well,
they told them no.
ACAB, baby, ACAB. So what we're doing this week, as we get to the big event of the big game. This is what we're doing. The big game is on Sunday. We got the Chiefs versus the 49ers. And then literally like 3 or 4 days after that, we got the big day of love, Valentine's Day. And no matter what happens in the game, the biggest story is going to be what Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are doing the whole time. So what we are doing here is we are doing some matchmaking. We are going to be matching a character from one piece of fandom content and pairing them up with another character from fandom content, and then we will propose it, and then the other person will think whether it's a good match or not, and then you will be able to vote in the app whether this is a good match or not. All right, Alex, I have 4 and then a kind of jokey 5th. How many do you have?
I have 4 and a jokey 5th.
Great. All right. So I went first last week with the Fandies. Why don't you go first with yours?
Okay, I don't know which first one is loaded up. So I'm looking at the app right now. Is the poll up?
It will. I think it'll go up once you say it. Jess is ready to go. She's good to go. So once you say it, it'll show up. My first pairing across universes. These are 2 people who have style and a little bit of snap and
a demonstrated openness to all kinds of folk.
I feel like I know where this is going. But go ahead.
My first pairing is Loki Laufeyson and Lando Calrissian.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh, I love that pairing. Yeah, you know that Lando Calrissian and Loki, because Loki can show up in whatever form. Man, he's been a woman, he's been an alligator, and if there's
Lando had sex with a robot.
Sex with the robot. I mean, the robot literally says, "Oh, it works." So I mean, but she
yeah,
said,
yeah.
with the movie.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
what a pair! And there's also their style. You know, you never quite know how they would be. Kind of like a Sam and Diane kind of thing. You know, they would be like, will they, won't they? Because you can't trust either one of them.
It'll be will they, won't they, or won't they stop? It'll be great.
Oh, I love that. So Lando and Loki. That's a great. I'm waiting to see it in the app, but it's so fun. It will show up when it shows up, baby.
Landoki.
Landoki. That's what we should do too. We should come up with like their name, like what their hashtag would be.
Their portmanteau.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
Landoki. That's fantastic. All right.
Lokdo.
Now we're just getting. Is there a way to do it from like Landy? How about Landy?
Landy.
Lackey. How about just Lackey? Lanky.
Lanky.
Oh, there it is. We got it in the app now. Oh, I love this. Is this a good couple?
Oh, that's great.
Yep. Oh yeah, the new version. Yeah. Oh, this. I got a big 89% on my.
Yeah, dude.
Yes, that's an absolutely. I can't wait to see what the result on that is. That's a big yes. I love it too. As Tom Hiddleston and Donald Glover too. Talk about two just crackling actors. Those two beautiful people. Just beautiful. Big size difference though. People don't realize that Donald Glover not very tall.
Little tiny guy. That's why he photographs so good.
He does. That's why when you look at the stuff for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Maya Erkson, he's not much taller than her. And I can tell you what, here's a little peek behind where the sausage is being pushed out to the vendors. I did a commercial with her. I did a commercial with Maya Erkson for US Cellular. Gosh, like, I don't know, 12, maybe like 11 years ago. And she's a tiny little thing. She's small. So, and Donald Glover was not much taller than her. So there you go. And Tom Hiddleston is tall. He's a tall guy. So that would be an interesting matchup.
Thank you. I thought so too. That's why I said it.
You ready for mine?
Let's do it, man. Come on.
This first one to me is just an absolute slam dunk. All right. This is going to be, we're going to put these two together in a room and the sparks are just going to erupt. All right. These are two people who are both single, but they've lost the loves of their lives, you know? And so both of them know what it's like to have loved and to have lost. They're both kind of rapscallions, if you will. They both kind of operate outside of what is considered to be the dominant society. They're both amazing pilots. Like, they are known as being unbelievable pilots of ships. He's a little more of a loose cannon, and she's a little bit more of a rule follower later in her life. And that's why I'm proposing, and I have a little bit of addendum afterwards once I propose them to really lay it in. Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, and Harrison Dula from Star Wars Rebels and Ahsoka. Get this, okay? So she's got a kid, okay, and that's like you. It's hard to like put somebody in a relationship because that's a lot to ask. But you know what? You know who grew up without a father? Peter Quill. You know, he knows what it's like to have a kind of father figure like that he has in Yondu. You know, and so he knows how to be that for Jason. Which, by the way, is Jason's last name Jarrus? Because if it's Jason Jarrus, that's an incredible name.
JJ, that's what Star-Lord's gonna call him. And you know that kid's got he's like, I feel things, mother. Like, he's so haunted. And like Peter Quill giving him like, hey man, you ever play a Game Boy? Will be like so good for him.
It'll be great. And get this is the real censure here too. Peter Quill's got a thing for green skin, baby, because we know he was right.
Yeah, baby.
Gamora's green skinned, Harris and Dula's green skinned. This to me is just an absolute no-brainer, slam dunk. These people would just be making it happen. He'd have to be explained what the head legs are for, but it's all good.
Cut to them in couples counseling. A long beat. Hera won't look at him. She says, "He called me Gamora again."
Oh,
and
then he's like, "But how many times have you? But you've called me Kanan so many times. You asked me to wear that weird like blast shield over my eyes."
I had to switch to the blast shield because the milky contacts were really irritating to my eyeballs.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
anyway,
really weird. But you know what? I do it because I love you. They would just be gallivanting around the universe, having a great time. I'd love to see how. So that's mine. Alex, who's your next match?
So my next match, these two are, when I landed on it, it was pretty obvious, but I wanted to get very, very specific about them. These are two people who are in their real lives, the performers behind them, capitally beautiful folk. I mean, just the sort of, you get why they were cast in the roles that they are cast in. Now we go into the characters. If we could somehow bring these two characters together, it would be a union that would shake the very foundations of Mount Olympus itself, or perhaps Valhalla. And that, of course, I will say I would like to see MCU Thor and DCEU Wonder Woman together. Gal Gadot and Chris Evans.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. See the two of them together. Those are two, like, look, you see those two holding hands walking down the street. It makes everybody's genetics a little better, I think. You're like, I think my kids are going to be taller.
I've said this before. I've been in a room I've been at a party, a very small gathering with Gal Gadot. Yes, she is a stunning human being. I was literally like with my wife, saw this woman from behind and was like, oh my God, what's going on over there? Turned around, Gal Gadot. So, and and Chris Hemsworth. Yeah. I mean, these are two beautiful people. And, let's be real. And this is kind of coming up later with one of my matches. These are two people who are basically gods or demigods. And it's absurd to think a human being can be somebody who can handle that. I don't think so. You know what I mean? It's weird that like, who can handle Chris Hemsworth, who's a god? Natalie Portman. I don't know about that.
Yeah, she's to be honest, and this isn't a body shamey thing. This is a physical capacity thing, and especially like maybe later on, yes, but early on, you're like, she's too spindly for all that. Like there's not a lot of.
He's the god of thunder. Like, let's just let that sink in for a second, okay? Thunder, lightning. You are a mortal. That he should literally I'm prefacing this a little graphic. Like explode. She should literally explode if they're intimate. And Wonder Woman again too. Yes, she has the strength. She can lift up cars and stuff. What makes you think that she can just be gentle? I don't think so. I think the two of them get together. I love that matchup. That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that and by the way, I really hope that at that small gathering, when you caught sight of Gal Gadot from behind, you literally under your breath went, "What's going on over there?" And that Dorian caught you. What's going on? No,
it's one of these deals. It was so worth seeing that I had to tell my wife what was going on.
That was for Jessica. If you're looking at the chat for the thing, that was for Jessica.
Got it. Appreciate it. I'm voting yes on this. That's a big, strong yes. 64% on the app I'm getting. Yeah, that's a great one. I like that one a lot. All right, for my next one, these are also two people. These are also two actors that are just unbelievably beautiful people. These are really attractive people, but they're also their characters. But I'm trying to think of people. There are a lot of people that exist in fandom who are. These are people who live for thousands of years, And if you're somebody who lives for thousands of years among mortals, how are you going to find love? Because you're going to fall in love with a mortal, and then that person's just going to die in 150th of my life, and it's like a dent. But real love, something that could span over time. So I'm thinking of two people who, when they are paired together, they could spend thousands of years together. All right. So I'm thinking of Galadriel from The Rings of Power, not the Kate Blanchett, but I forget her name. Her name is some real Gugai name. It's like Morgyan, but it's spelled like Morfgyan.
Her name's Paul Atreides.
Yeah, exactly. And so who is she? So she's Galadriel. Rings of Power takes place thousands of years before the Fellowship of the Ring. And she's like a young woman in that. And even by the time they get to Lord of the Rings, she's still like Kate Blanchett in her like early, like mid-20s. So we're not like, there wasn't a lot of like aging done in thousands of years. So I'm thinking, you know who else sticks around for all of time? Vampires. And so Galadriel spends most of her time fighting orcs. What is kind of close to an orc? A vampire. And who is a vampire hunter but Blade? Mahershala Ali. So I'm saying that Blade and Galadriel are just banging around Earth, Middle Earth, whatever, fighting orcs, fighting vampires, and also making that sweet, sweet love.
Dude, Galadriel up on a rooftop in New York looking down at the rainy city streets and then puts on the cool Oakley shades and says, let's go. Like, hell yeah, brother.
Well, that's like
Wesley
Snipes Blade. I'm talking Mahershala Ali Blade.
Oh, you don't think she's going to wear some Oakleys anyway? Come on. She knows. She gets it. She's like, and she'll say, this is for Snipes. And then Mahershala Ali's Blade will go, what? But she knows because she's like, Valar or whatever they are. No, she's Elven, right? And that she's
Elven.
Elf?
She's
Elven.
Yeah. Which like also too, like, he's been as a vampire, as a part vampire, he doesn't have the pointy ears, but I'm sure he knows some people who do. So that's not going to freak him out, when they're getting intimate. He's not going to be like, whoa, what are these ears? He's used to that stuff.
Right. And I think just generally speaking, probably not a judger.
Well, I think he isn't. He's a vampire hunter. He has to judge whether you're a vampire or not. But I feel like he's a good judge of character because if you're a vampire, he's gonna
maybe we can say he's a judge-er, but he's not judgy.
I like that. 76% say yes. I just voted yes, and that was a 76% on that one. Yeah, we're really nailing it with these. I think is a big takeaway so far. Alex, who's your next? You gotta go soon. He's not leaving. He's got to step away for like 5 seconds. Anyway.
So my next pick is I'm going outside of a certain kind of a set that we've come to, but really I think that the unifying piece between these next characters is a creative voice that I really, really hope kind of benefits both these characters in the real world. But in a fake world where they got together, I think this is a powerhouse couple, a dynamite couple, a super couple, a couple of galactic proportions. I'm going to say that Crypto, the super dog, and Cosmo, the telepathic space dog from Guardians of the Galaxy,
baby,
make a good couple. I think we've got, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow is a crypto-centric story. They've figured out a way to bring crypto into the
currency.
Yeah, she gets heavy into NFTs, and it's like she goes upside down. No, it's Crypto, the super dog, baby. His cool white dog. They've figured out a way to bring him into modern continuity in a way that makes sense. Is not cheesy.
The DC League of the Super Pets, right?
Yes, but in mainline continuity, Crypto exists in actual going DC Comics continuity. And then of course the cute, based on Laika, the orbiting Russian space dog, but. Yeah, I just think the two of those together. Imagine the puppies.
I mean, those are some telekinetic flying puppies if I've ever seen them, for sure. I love this. This is fantastic. That's a great one. That's a good 100% yes on the app. I just typed yes, 100% on that one. BC Lion says lots of lovemaking references with this matchmaking show. Thought next Wednesday, February 14th, was all about ashes and fasting. Well, if you're talking about Ash Wednesday, let me just tell you that if that's also the case, then that means that Tuesday is a little thing called Fat Tuesday. And I'm pretty sure if you know what happens on Fat Tuesday, we're allowed to make as many lovemaking references that we're allowed to make. A holiday generally known for people flashing their boobs. Anyway,
pitching woo.
Yeah, pitching woo. That's a great up the pancakes. When Superman puts Crypto outside, does he use a blockchain to keep Crypto from running away? Gosh, Freddie Airmail just consistently with the puns. I love that. When he puts him outside, he uses the blockchain. That's great.
I need a second.
I know.
I need a second.
I need a breather there. All right, so you 12:30. You got to do something real quick, right? So I could probably squeak one in, and we have to. I can talk about it because this is a bit of a twofer that I'm putting up for my next one. Okay. Because these are two people that are cousins that are constantly paired. I've teased this a little bit. Constantly paired with human beings. Okay, so we're talking about super people. We're talking about Superman and Supergirl. And it's insane to think that a man with more power than a locomotive, faster than a speeding bullet, is somehow able to keep it all under control when making sweet love to a human being. This is the Mallrats theory that I'm positing right here. If you've seen the movie Mallrats, this is what Jason Lee talks about.
Let's just say if Superman pitches woo, he might throw a little hard.
Yeah, exactly. So it's absurd to think that somebody of the mortal race, like a Lois Lane, I don't know who Supergirl's human love interest is. Do you know?
No, I don't.
Doesn't she hook up with Jimmy at the paper at some point?
Oh, God, I hope not. He's such a dork.
He is such a dork. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find two superpowered people to go with them. So I'm posing for Superman. Superman is the most powerful person in the DCU, whether or not Dwayne The Rock Johnson has a say in it or not, but he is. And who is the strongest person in the MCU? It's Captain Marvel. So we get Captain Marvel and Superman because prior to Secret Invasion, she is at the top of the power chain. So you have that, and then you put Supergirl with Thor. So that's what we got. We got Thor and Supergirl and Superman and Captain Marvel. And those are people, then we can Thor can take her, she can take him, however you want to use the word take. It's doing a lot of work in these sentences. But I feel like that these are people that can actually handle everything that they're bringing, because these are people who are powered by the Earth's sun, and it's just absurd to think that Lois Lane can. I feel bad for her, frankly.
The thing is, look up a little thing called the World of Glass that Superman exists in. But I think about the innocent pat on the bottom. You passing by your wife in the kitchen, and just little, if he's not on his game, he could send Lois into orbit. Captain Marvel can take it. But it really is a good like I said, pitch and woo, you might throw a little too hard if you're a pro. And I think this is really good. Let's get some pots on some lids. Or some lids on some pots, whatever. Wherever you put them on.
People don't agree with me. That was I typed yes on that, and that was a real low. People weren't having that. Which I gotta say, I think I proved my argument pretty well. But Alex, do you have to step away for a second?
I'll know in a moment when I hear a knock on the door, but I'll try and work through it because I do have my.
What's your next one?
So my next one is, so again, I'm kind of stepping out of the human thing to match up two beings of extraordinary capability, extraordinary capacity. One destructive, the other communicative. Very, very different kinds of energies, but I think this is a real yin and yang situation, a real 1 and 0 if you want to get binary about it. And of course, you would have to get binary about it because my next matchup is C-3PO and Ultron. And I think that if you have a real Edith and Archie Bunker kind of thing where, he's constantly going like, I must destroy this Tony Stark. And then C-3PO goes, yes, but we have dinner at the Hendersons. And he's, yes, the Hendersons. And totally mitigated. And it's like this, he's like, I hate that meathead. And C-3PO is but he's our son-in-law.
The Archie Bunker comp is great because Ultron would say something real uncomfortable at some point. Like Ultron's racist. We can just say that. And then
Ultron's super racist. And then he says something about Vietnamese people, and C-3PO goes, "I speak Vietnamese. You can't." And like
that works too because he's. I don't know if this is okay at this time, but I mean, C-3PO clearly about Ultron definitely attacked. It's like it's not like. It's not. This works.
Kenny,
that works very
you
well.
definitely can't say that on Twitch, dude. We're gonna get a warning and we're gonna get a citation.
I was talking about like if you're stacking them, you would put C-3PO. I'm just gonna blaze past it. No, I feel like this works very well. I feel like this is because Ultron also like he's got like a real chip on his shoulder, and he's gonna need somebody to like bring him down to reality. And if there's somebody who is constantly worried about, doing too much, it's C-3PO. You guys constantly, hey, no, Ultron, we can't be worrying so much about blowing up Sokovia. We have to, like you said, we have the Hendersons coming over for dinner tonight.
C-3PO says, "Don't wear that tie. It's odd." And Ultron says, "Never tell me it's odd." And the audience just loves it.
Get out of that's my chair you're sitting in. Oh, I'm so sorry, Ultron. I'll get up from your chair. Would you like the paper?
Songs that made the hit parade.
Should we go over to the piano and read some? I have to watch so much All in the Family for my job, so I'm very aware of this show and what's happening with it. Great, I love this one. All right, you might disown me as a friend for my next one.
Oh boy.
These are two people that are just absolutely tortured souls. Just tortured souls. Traditionally seen as heterosexual, but it's not defined. But more often than not, these two are seen with women. But I feel like the thing that's missing is not because they are closeted. I just think they just have not found somebody who truly understands them and truly understands what they are going through. And these are people who have like intense, have some trauma in their past that may have influenced them, and some mental health issues that they both have to kind of work on. And you mentioned the word yin and yang. These two would be yin and yang because these two people are both brooding. They're both knights. I am talking about the Dark Knight and the Moon Knight. So I'm talking about putting Batman and Moon Knight together. These two people basically... Moon Knight was essentially created to be Marvel's Batman. These people, they're both wearing capes. These guys could be hand in hand, just fighting crime at night, and then just hemming and hawing about everything that's wrong in their lives during the day. And that way, they don't have to be alone. They don't have to be alone. They can actually have somebody who, like, hey, man, I know what it's like to be, certifiably insane. So let's go.
Crouched on a gargoyle overlooking the city, fingers interlaced, breath synced, heartbeats aflutter. This is a great pick, Kenny.
Thank you.
The Moon Knight and the Dark Knight. I really think this is maybe one of the big winners of the whole broadcast.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to be like, how dare you, Batman and Vicky Vale or Batman and Selena Kyle. That's like a real matchup. I know that traditionally speaking, Batman and Selena Kyle are almost like I mentioned Sam and Diane. They're the Sam and Diane of comics. The will they, won't they? They've been the Selena Kyle, which is Catwoman and Batman, have been a will they or won't they for years. But I'm just going to say they're not, because Moon Knight's over there saying, "Hey, buddy, I get you."
There's nobody, and it could even be something where they're like, it's not even about being attracted to a gender, or it's about the connection with this person.
Yeah, I mean, they most definitely have like an open relationship, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, there's the physical stuff is one thing, but like when you want to be with a partner, you want somebody who totally, oh my God, Freddie Airmail crushing it. Dark Knight and Moon Knight out on a night, but spelled Knit.
Nights on the town.
Oh yeah. Do you want to go on a night on the town? Billionaire Playboy too, just out gallivanting. I mean, there's just I'm glad you like this. This was like, I thought like he might, the Dark Knight. I know you're very precious with your Bruce Wayne, so I just wanted to make sure that you're okay with it.
I love it. I love it, and I love your beautiful mind that came up with it, Kenny.
Now here's the thing. So we have Oscar Isaacs, but I didn't know which Bruce Wayne we should go with. I mean, I think
Adam West.
Oh, I was going to say the most beautiful option would be Robert Pattinson and Oscar Isaac, but that would just be crackling heat.
What about Christian Bale and Oscar Isaac?
Oh, there you go. Sorry, that's a real. We're really cooking with gas there.
Real different kinds of handsome. One more little more stately, the other one a little more rugged. I don't know. Yeah, this is good. I like it.
Thank you. All right, you got one more. You got a jokey one. What's your jokey one?
Well, you said a will they, won't they, and I think that this really it's kind of weird because this is. I kind of went in universe because I think that the fact that these two never made it together is as ridiculous as them not being in the same universe. I think it's something the tension of which they played with quite a bit, and I really don't know why these two didn't get together eventually. And that's Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa.
Yeah,
I just don't know
man.
why didn't they? They played with it. She makes it. She gets together with Han, and that's fine, but. Luke is kind of from the beginning the clear guy. So I just think that it's in terms of missed opportunities, really, I don't get why they didn't just make that happen. I think it's what the fans really wanted.
You look at the hero's journey, and usually that's he's the small town boy, and it's whatever. It's the freaking Journey song. He's just a small town boy, and she's a big city girl, and this is it doesn't make sense, but it does. So. I mean, yeah, that's a real missed opportunity. I mean, yes, they do happen to end up to be siblings, and that's gross.
Wait,
but,
what?
I mean, yeah, you didn't know that?
Oh, geez. Well,
yeah, she's his sister. It's definitely not something that they were planning from the jump because.
When do they do that? Do they say that in the movies, or is that in a book or something?
It's in the Return of the Jedi.
The third one?
Yeah, the third one.
Well, that's on me, Kenny. I'm sorry. I didn't, Dang. Well, I guess we have to vote on it anyway.
All right, you ready for my jokey one?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. This is a real jokey one, but I feel like this is a really good couple. I love it to the app here. I'm saying yes. It's a big yes. You know what? It's 69%. Anyway, so
yeah. Welcome to the Bone Zone. It's after dark.
All right, this is my last one. All right, one of the most disrespected characters in fandom. This person has been just consistently smacked down, consistently ignored, despite the consistent demands for people, specifically two people on this show, to see this character in any piece of content. We are the day one boat stand kings, all right? And there's no reason why, this character shouldn't be able to get some love. Everyone needs love. And so if you're going to take Sam Wilson Shrimping Boat, what other character in fandom is constantly disrespected? Is this so many times people are like, oh, well, this ship can't do that. You're going to take that ship here? At one point, one of the main characters in these movies turns and sees this ship and says, what, that piece of junk? And that piece of junk always delivers. That's why I'm going to pair up Sam Wilson Shrimping Boat with the Millennium Falcon.
I'll say it again. Imagine the puppies. Oh, yeah, Kenny, this is how do you end so strong? This is the all-timer right here. We could hang up our jerseys on this one from the big broadcast. It's amazing.
If Kevin Feige is just going to consistently be a coward and never put this boat back in any piece of content, then it shouldn't at least just have love instead. And the Millennium Falcon is just consistently being disrespected by the universe. Everyone's saying, oh, that lunk of junk, you can't take this thing any. It's just it's disgusting, frankly. Oh, you can actually wager on whether the boat is going to be. Yeah. These are two things that need love. So let's just make it happen. Let's make Sam Wilson's boat, Millennium Falcon, fly away or go underwater somewhere and whatever. And that's just, it's great, man. It's all love. It's groovy.
I'm going to get Shakespearean with you here. And we've got Sam Wilson's fishing boat, the subject of which is, there's the bank loan to rent, all these things. But maybe the most galling thing is having love on top of it, but never experiencing it itself. And of course, I'm talking about Winter Soldier in love with Sam Wilson's sister, and they of course make out all the time on the boat, and the boat's like, oh hum. The other side of this is the Millennium Falcon, who possesses the brain of what's her face from Fleabag,
L257, yeah,
L257, and as we said before, she made out hardcore with Lando as well, and now is in a big spaceship and can't. And now, oh, who's this? We kindred spirits, and now I'm just gonna say it a third time. Imagine the puppies.
Yeah, because you know that like years and years of Han and Leia kissing and canoodling all over you, just as Bucky and Sam's sister are canoodling all, and it's like there's common ground. I mean, this is if you don't love this, you don't love love. End of story.
Do you remember that probe thing, the trainer thing that Luke fights at the beginning of New Hope?
Of course.
That little thing. You think that like sometimes Han and Leia would be like making out and a little thing would like float into view and just kind of watch?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like it's like this. It comes in like this. Yep.
That's some first-class puppeteering you saw there, courtesy of Kenny, of course, a very experienced and well-trained puppeteer.
Watch Duff's Happy Fun Big Time on Discovery Plus. Shout out to Duff. He got into an accident, but he's doing much better now. He got into a car accident, and he's doing so much better. Shout out to Duff Goldman. We did it. That was it. We did it. We made love. We made love pairings. And,
we saved romance.
And before we get to the rest of the show, I need to know: do we have another ad read from the cons?
Citizens of Pico Sycamore, they have, if you like drugs or haven't paid child support, they're having a big block party. They want to say, we told the police no police. And they said, oh, are you sure? It sounds so fun. And we said no. So they said, okay. So the DA won't be here taking pictures of license plates, and we won't be partnering with other state and national agencies to see if we can ladder up to larger RICO prosecutions in certain cases where conspiratorial is the furtherance of a crime can be proven. So again, it's the corner of Pico and Sycamore, the citizens of Pico Sycamore inviting you to the big. If you like drugs and have unpaid parking tickets, come on down to the block party. Ignore the big gray vans.
Ignore the big gray vans. Citizens of Pico and Sycamore. Got it. A cab. You know what time it is now, though.
Oh, you know it. I do.
Game time. I hope the person doesn't come to your house during the game time because it's your game.
We're gonna work it out. Yeah.
All right. Are you ready? Here's the stinger.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. It's your turn for the game. What's the game this week?
All right. This game is called Let's Give Them Something to Ewok About, the ultimate nerd did they or didn't they quiz. So I'm gonna give you a character pairing, and you're gonna tell me whether or not they actually hooked up in a story. And most of these are from the comics. So I'll just give you a pairing. You tell me yes or no. Okay. First, Wolverine and Storm.
That's a yes.
Yes, and it was bad, and nobody liked it. The next. Iron Man and his own suit.
I'm going to say yes.
Yes, and it was bad and nobody liked it. Superman and Wonder Woman.
I believe they have in comics lore, yes.
Yes, a few times, but never for long, and always in a way that sort of makes you go, yeah, that's more like it, but it always feels wrong because, Lois, but yeah, makes you think. Okay, Batman and Batgirl.
I know in some lore there's she's like sideways related to somebody. I'm going to say yeah, sure, of course.
Yes. In fact, in one case, he did get her pregnant, and whatever else definitely would have been better if it were Batman and Batwoman, but whatever. Take what we can get.
Well said.
Magneto and Wasp.
What a weird pairing. I'm going to say yeah.
Yes, in the comics, because for years Wasp was written as sort of an incurable flirt, and then in the 90s when Hank kind of domestically abuses her in a dark storyline, the inference is sort of like, oh well, anyway.
Oh,
Our final question:
wow.
Wolverine and a teenaged Mary Jane Watson.
God, I'm gonna say yes.
Yes, in the Ultimate Universe, but don't worry, it's not as creepy as it sounds. Wolverine was possessing Spider-Man, who was also a teenager, as a sort of a revenge, and so it was just his adult brain that made out with and then attempted to sleep with a teenage girl. So covered. And let's give them something to Ewok about the Ultimate didn't they quiz.
I love that. You know what's crazy about that is those were all probably actually true.
I sourced from the list of creepiest hookups from comicbookresources.com. So thanks to them.
Yeah, the amount of things that like people thought were cool, like not that long ago and especially like grown man with like teenage girl is like the weird, the original Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, the movie with Sidney Poitier and
Spencer Tracy.
He is like, his character is like a tenured professor at a college. So I'm going to say, I don't know, 40 something. And the daughter is like a recent college grad. I'm not recent high school grad. I think she's going off to college. So she's like 18 and he's like 44. And everyone's like, cool.
Well, hold on. He was waiting at the door with a handful of flowers, looking at his watch, waiting for her to turn 18, right? Before they started dating, right? Right.
I don't think there were any laws on the books back then. Anyway, we are now at the point of the show for our Hoopla recommendations. Hoopla is where you can go online. You put in your library card and you can read comics, tons of things like, I'm sure, the weird hookups that we just referenced. You could probably find that on Hoopla. Alex, what's your Hoopla recommendation for the week?
Anything on there from Star Wars Legends. We were talking about it earlier, these things that used to be canon and now are not. They're such a fun, really kind of special, corny Googa sometimes, really fun. They almost exist now as Star Wars What If. There's several great examples. 30 years of Dark Horse comics, 30 years of, I think, Del Rey books, whatever, for that. Timothy Zahn. There's whole, the Young Jedi Academy series by Kevin J. Anderson. There's hundreds of books out there that are just kind of fun to waste time with. So do yourself a favor and dive into Legends. They
are good. And Del Rey they have the current timeline.
Right.
It's as I'm listening to Heir to the Empire, there's something about listening or reading Legends canon, which is no longer considered Star Wars canon, because when you're listening or reading any of the actual canon books, there's an intent to want to, oh my gosh, I don't want to miss anything because this planet that's referenced here might show up in Ahsoka or whatever, or this character, and it's like an Easter egg. But it's like refreshing to engage with this stuff in like a way that's like, this stuff doesn't count. It's just fun. You know what I mean? Like, you're right.
It's disconnected.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to just take this on its face and not worry like how this interacts with the Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm still on a big Attack of the Titan kick, so I'm still kind of jumping around a bunch of different things. I'm still reading all the Scott Pilgrims. I still recommend those, but Attack on Titan is really just I find it one of the most compelling kind of stories in both comics or just fandom. Period. It's just such a weird thing, and these Titans are so weird. They look like stoners who don't have clothes on and don't have genitals. It's weird. It's very weird, but it's like, I'm here for it, man. They look like weird, like remember like when in the 80s, like metal bands would have like weird kind of Satan worshiper people on their t-shirts that kind of have like bangs, but then like long hair on the sides, and they're kind of like goofy faces. That's what these guys look like. It's weird, but I really, really dig it. It's called Attack on Titan. It's a manga, so you got to read left to right, but it's there. All right.
1 second.
Here we go. This is what Alex teased. He said at some point someone's coming to get a dog, And BC Lions, have a great West. Just kick some ash on Wednesday. We will with my loved ones. Thank you very much. BC Lion, always great to have BC Lion here because, as I've said many times on the big broadcast, I'm a BC Lions fan. It's one of my favorite football teams, besides the Beasts. Of course, as a fan-controlled football, I'm a Beast. I'm a Beast day one, Beast Stan King. Back when they were naming the teams, way back when, I don't think I voted for Beast, but that's what the team I decided to roll with way back. So I'm an OG Beast guy, and I guess I'll just talk a little bit more on Attack on Titan, the manga. It's a show too. Obviously, most manga is also an anime you can watch. The show is also really great. How'd that
perfect.
Go?
It went perfect, more perfect than you could even imagine. I swear to God.
Great. Do you have another read? I got to get out of here in like 4 minutes. So
yeah.
Another ad read from the cops. I mean, the citizens on Pico and Sycamore.
Citizens of Pico and Sycamore would like to invite you to their block party if you like drugs and have unpaid parking tickets. Enjoy the most police-free carnival ever. We even have a special haunted house themed after a temporary courtroom with a real judge and everything. Experience the thrills and chills of forever being entangled in a web of recidivism and thrown to the fringes of society with no hope of recovery, regardless of what got you in there in the first place, and certainly no effort to improve conditions such that you may not have turned to crime in the first place. Come on, it's a carnival. So the citizens of Pico and Sycamore and their police-free carnival, come on down if you haven't paid child support.
ACAB. Alex, this is the part of the show where we talk about what our dogs. You just gave a dog to somebody to pick up a dog. What did your dogs think of our matchmaking that we were doing today?
Well, I'm gonna grab Lupo for you because he is the king of
love.
Look
at this guy
year. We're the fresh Valentine's Day groom. He's not available for adoption. If you try to take him from me, I will do unspeakable things to everybody you've ever met. He is my number one fluffy boy.
He's adorable. I wish that I could pick up my 100-pound dog and bring her onto the feed, but that's impossible. Mabel actually sat with me right next to me as I was writing up and coming up with all of my matchmaking. So she had a real large paw, not a hand, in this thing. So I feel like this matchmaking wing is something that the dogs are really on board with. So we should keep that in our back pockets if we want to engage our dogs. BC Lions put 3 dogs in the chat. I love that. We love dogs. Alex, we did it. We
always do it.
We found love in a hopeless place. We found love in a hopeless place. I guess we should, just for S's and G's, give our Super Bowl picks. I don't know. Who do you think is going to win the big game?
Me. Yes.
Now, I was going to say, does your, I know it's known that you're from an Eagles household. You guys are big Eagles fans. Do you? Yeah. Does your wife like or dislike Andy Reid?
I think she's neutral on Mr. Reid, but I hope the Chiefs win just based on what I read in that Atlantic article that I skimmed about how Shanahan is a big brother type, and Andy Reid is like, let the boys play. They have lab time when they practice, where Mahomes and the skills players just get to come up with plays. So I think that's fun. It's backyard. It's backyard bruiser. Let's do it. Let's get TK and TK up there.
I'm going to say the Chiefs win too. Growing up a Rams fan, I'm like predisposed to hate the 49ers. So, I'm a little bit of ambivalent at this point to the 49ers because they've been so bad for so long. I just don't like, whatever, they're good. So what? I got tired of hearing how good they were when I was in college because half of Cal Poly was Northern Californians. I got so sick of hearing how good the 49ers were. And they've been so bad for so long. So I get to be like, great, you guys experienced what it's like to be crappy for so long. So I kind of don't care, but I can't in good conscience vote, cheer for them. So Chiefs will win. And then we all win because Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift will steal our hearts at the end with our smooches. Alex, where can the folks find you? I gotta go. Where can the folks find you?
Duke Midnight, anywhere except X and wherever major magazines are sold.
You can find me at Kenny G. Stevenson. I did promise I was going to do some gaming on Twitch, and then my schedule got thrown out. But that is going to happen very soon. Gaming on Twitch, TikTok. You can find me at Kenny G. Donut King on Threads and Instagram. That's the show. We'll be back next week. I think I got to talk about that. I might be out of town. But if we're doing a show, it's about Madam Web. So strap in, folks. It's happening.
Get webbed up.
Get webbed up. Thanks for watching, folks.
We love you so much. Good night.
Bye.